Pablo Picasso said that every child is born an artist. The problem is how to remain one once we grow up. I want you to imagine yourself as a 3-year-old. You are just entering preschool. Your world is full of imagination and magic. You discover that you can place blocks in an arrangement or scribble lines on a paper without being told that is not the correct way to draw. You purposely draw a monster or a flower, and by the time you're 5, you're able to comment and narrate stories to better enhance your art. Being naturally creative, you ask questions like, why is the grass green? And why is the sky blue? Questions no wise man can answer. But snap out of it, because you are not 3 or 5, and you must color in the lines. And how foolish you must be to purposely want to draw and how foolish you must be to purposely want to draw a monster or a flower. And let us not discuss narrated stories, because what are we, people who use the right side of our brain? I think not. Welcome to a creative child's worst nightmare, school. Your creativity soon declines with the start of formal schooling and the developmental drive towards conformity. You were bullied, made fun of, because you always stood out from the other kids, and you had this teacher that told you to stop dreaming and live in reality. So what did you learn at school? You learned to stop questioning the world, to go with the flow, and that there's only one right answer to each question. A teacher is a person who is supposed to help others to acquire knowledge, competence, or virtue. Informally, the role of a teacher may be taken on by you, or you. What they forgot to include is that teaching is a creative profession. Of course, that is not needed in the field anymore, being that the dominant culture of education focuses on not teaching and learning, but testing. Our teachers and children are encouraged to follow routine algorithms. Students have lost their capacity of creation simply because our teaching methods do not stimulate creativity and innovation. We're taught to memorize, study for the test, and forget. The education system is supposed to help awaken and develop our powers of creativity. Instead, it has the same hierarchy of subjects. Mathematics and languages greater than humanities, humanities greater than the arts and physical education. The most useful subjects for work are at the top. Are the arts not deemed important? The how, what, and whys kids want to ask are never on the test. Instead, it's replaced with, please choose the correct answer choice, A, B, C, or D. But what were to happen if the test were to change? Recently, I was asked for my ACE English Lang test to choose a story and create a prompt for my choosing. That kind of creative freedom sounds so liberating. But how was I supposed to create creative work when I've been taught my creativity is seen as something foolish and a little silly? So instead, we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. The education students are receiving is aimed at improving standardized test scores. These tests then dictate the curriculum and what is deemed important at each level of education. These tests do not take into account learner differences, out-of-the-box thinking, or the individual's talents, qualities, or passions, resulting in creativity being restrained. And in this, you can see that 90% lost their creativity during the school year. 90%. Teachers begin to form biases against creative students, fearing that creativity in the classroom is seen as disruptive. They devalue the creativity personality attributes such as risk-taking, impulsivity, and independence. They inhibit creativity by focusing on the reproduction of knowledge and obedience in the classroom. For instance, Simone Biles was a child who could not sit still in the classroom. She would blurt out answers without raising her hand, and she would be caught daydreaming while a teacher were to give her instructions, resulting in her being diagnosed with ADHD at a young age. So what's the best way to treat a child with ADHD? Become a gymnast. And that's what Biles did. By the age of 6, she became a gymnast. However, the traits of a creative student sound a lot like the traits of ADHD, don't you agree? The 3 primary characteristics of ADHD are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Can a child develop these characteristics if they are constantly being exposed to low clerical work in the classroom? According to studies, 4 to 8% of all Finnish children between the ages of 6 and 18 have ADHD. While in the US, there is concern that children diagnosed with ADHD is overdiagnosed. Is it possible that the same children diagnosed in the US would not receive the same diagnosis in Finland? Why? Because the treatment of ADHD is the context of Finland's basic education system. In Finland, they channel excess energy into constructive activities and provide ample opportunities for kids to burn it off. If the United States education system helps kids harness this extra energy and try to make kids sit still, these kids might not have been diagnosed with ADHD in the first place. Finland's education system eschews standardized testing. While students in the US primarily take standardized tests to track their performance, Finnish students take just one during their entire time in primary and secondary school. It reveres its teachers. The bar is set so high for teachers that there is no need for accountability, that there is no need for a rigorous grading system. Pasi Sauber, director of the Finnish Ministry of Education, said the following about teachers' accountability. There is no word for accountability in Finland. Accountability is something that is left when responsibility has been subtracted. While most Americans in other countries see the educational system as a big Darwin competition, the Finns see it differently. Pasi Sauber also quoted a line from a writer named Samuli Paranon, which says that real winners do not compete. So the obvious next question is, how can creativity be cultivated in the classroom? Focus less on the reproduction of information and more on critical thinking and problem solving. Create activities that transcend traditional disciplinary boundaries, such as by painting murals, acting out plays about history events, and writing poems about the cosmos. Equal education to the arts, the humanities, and physical education. Narrow the focus onto the STEM disciplines. Yes, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient. Host questions and challenges and follow up with opportunities for solitude and reflection. This provides time and space that is so vital to opportunity. And lastly, rethink our view of intelligence. It's diverse, dynamic, and distinct. Our education system is made to help us grow. And in fact, the root meaning of the word creativity means to grow. Thank you.